everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's your girl Cleopatra, aka Cleo. Welcome back to the Mommy Minimalist channel. If you're new over here, I welcome you. But let's get right into it, guys. I'm super stoked, super excited to talk about this book. And if you haven't seen my latest short, it was talking about this book right here, and pretty much it was pretty much saying how I fell in love with the book solely based off the book cover. And for me, I believe imagery speaks 1,000 words without ever having to mumble a single word. And with this book, the art cover alone, it just grasped my attention, and I was like, this book has to be interesting. Just based off the cover of this book, it has to be interesting. And so super happy that I end up picking up this book, because I would have never thought that what took place in this book would happen. And oh my gosh, I mean, this is one of the books that I could say, I mean, it got me intrigued into reading, and I just constantly flip the pages, flip the pages, flip the pages, and got super in tune with it. So let's jump right into it. Here's the book, and it's titled One of the Good Ones, and it's by, I might butcher this, y'all, but I'm sorry, Mika Moulet and Marzetta Moulet. I believe that they're sisters. And oh my gosh, let's read into it, y'all. So it says, isn't being human enough? When teen social activist and history buff Keza Smith is killed under mysterious circumstances after attending a social justice rally, her devastated sister Happy and their family are left reeling in the aftermath. As Keza becomes another immortalized victim in a fight against police brutality, Happy begins to question the idolized way her sister is remembered. Perfect, angelic, one of the good ones. Even as the phrase rings wrong in her mind, why are only certain people deemed worthy to be missed? Happy and her sister, Jenny, embark on a journey to honor Keza in their own way, using a heirloom copy of the Negro Motorist Green Book as their guide. But there's a twist to Keza's story that no one could have ever imagined. One that would change everything all over again. Now, let that soak in. Let it resonate. Let it sit with you. Just kind of think about that, right? Now, look at the cover. Not sure if you guys are able to see it, but look at the cover. On this book, you see 3 black girls, right? They're all different shades of black. One's darker, one's a little caramel complexion, one's a little bit lighter, but they're still black, right? And this cover spoke volumes to me, because it's something that I feel like is stigmatized in the black community, where things are colorism, right? Things are colorized, even within our own community. And you will stop and say, oh, no, it's not. Black is black and black is beautiful. And it's like, yeah, that's all true. And yes, black is amazing. Black is beautiful. However, we have colorism amongst one another. Prime example, light skin, right? Versus dark skin. They're both black, right? But who could get better opportunities? Who's more sexualized, right? And not saying sexualization is a good thing, but let's look at what they say is sexy, what they say is beautiful, right? And again, the light-skinned girl is still black. She's just light-skinned, right? So when you look at the more darker shades, right? The caramel, and then the dark brown, and then, you know, like the deep chocolate, you see a variety of colorism all within that. So by this cover, it was like, oh my gosh, like, what are they trying to say, right? And the title itself is called One of the Good Ones. So it makes you stop and question, who is a good one? Like, are they all not good, or are one is better than the other? So that's what really intrigued me, because it was like, oh my gosh, like that imagery alone, it spoke so much value. Even if you look at the cover, I'm gonna post it here on the screen so you could really get a good view of it. But even as you look, they all even have different hair textures, right? Their hair textures are different. You got straight hair, then you got the short curly kinky hair. Then you got the super kinky hair, and it almost looked like it's braids in the cover. There's a difference. Why? Right? Why is there a difference? What does that symbolize? What does that say? So, as you could see, baby, I drove real deep into it, and that's what got me into the book. But look, I just read it, right? So, pretty much the story is about and I'm not going to tell everything. I really want you guys to read it yourself. But, like a little brief overview is the story is about this teenager, right? She's in school, I'm going to say senior year, and she's African American. Mother and father is in the ministry, right? They're Christians. So if you know, then you know, right? Being a pastor kid. So if you grew up in church and you had a friend who was a pastor kid, or you yourself, you're a pastor kid, you know how that could be, right? Let's not get into denominations. You know how that could be. So if you're Kojic or you're Baptist, I mean, they're all different, right? How they approach things, how they handle things, it's different. So a lot of times growing up in that environment, you are exposed to a lot, right? It's a lot of don't do this, do that instead. So just imagine her being a teenager, your parents are ministers, and you're trying to navigate life. That could be a healthy task, right? That could be a lot for anybody, right? So dawn on that. Moving right along. I mean, listen, police brutality, that's a big thing. We see that a lot, especially in modern day times. We see it so much, it's almost like it's normalized. You become numb to police brutality. You become numb to hearing another story on the news of an officer killed, such and such, or the officer involved shooting, and it's just kind of like, it happens. I don't know. I guess that's the whew, I guess that's I cannot talk. I guess that's the society that we live in, right? It's easy to kind of sweep it under the rug, so to speak, just because it happens so often. And then when it does happen, it almost seems as if like nothing is done, right? Things only get done to the ones that's super publicized, right? Where everybody is talking about it now. So all eyes are on the justice system to serve some type of justice. All right, my apologies, guys. I just had to drop off the baby to his daddy upstairs. But we're back to the book. So what I was saying was that I got so many good nuggets out of this book, and one of those nuggets was that you have to be very mindful of your presence, right? And your presence online, because you never know who's watching, right? Not just saying people are watching, everybody's watching, and you don't know how your perspective might evoke a feeling of anger, outrage, or disagreement with somebody else who's watching your videos, right? So to say that, it's almost like not to not say what you need to say, because at the end of the day, say what you need to say. However, just be mindful of, you got eyes on you. So not everybody who watches you is going to like you. Not everybody who watches you is going to agree with you, right? So knowing that, how you conduct yourself outside, right? Outside of the camera, it's important, right? Be vigilant, especially if you're talking about provoking topics, things that are going to evoke a certain type of emotion. Folks crazy nowadays, so you just never know. You could be out and about, you done spoke your piece, you moving along, and then there's somebody at the corner store or somebody at a restaurant who like, oh, I know who that person is, and boom, situation. So be mindful of that. Another piece I got out of it was, you have to be true to who you are at the end of the day, and change only comes by getting out of your comfort zone. None of the great leaders that we have seen or read about or heard about did anything special or did anything powerful by staying in their comfort zone, right? They all, in one shape, form, or another, put their life on the line, right? They put their name on the line, right? They put their family on the line, right? Especially if we think about the Martin Luther Kings, the Rosa Parks, if we think about the Malcolm X, if we think about the many advocates, and of course, those are like the how could I say it? Like the top name ones everybody know, but just off the top of my head as of right now, when we think about them, they just didn't sit around and just be like, okay, I'll stay in my comfort zone and I'll try to do change. No, like they got out there in the trenches. They got out there and they was unapologetically themselves, right? Even if it meant what I might say may put my life on the line. What I'm doing might put my life on the line. However, what I'm doing is to benefit the greater good, right? It was never about self. It was never about, oh, I'm doing this to get famous, or oh, I'm doing this for attention, or I'm doing this for some type of self gain. It was, no, I'm doing this because I'm fighting for somebody else, right? And so when I think of that and we look into this book, it's kind of like what Keza did was she was advocating for people who could no longer advocate for themselves. They're gone. They're deceased. They're no longer here. So it's almost like they're voiceless, right? So it takes people like Keza to get up and say, hey, that person mattered. What happened, it was wrong. What happened, it wasn't okay, right? She was their voice. So I thought that was extremely powerful in the book. And then I also thought that, again, being true to yourself, right? Not all the time is everyone going to agree with the way you choose to live your life, right? And you wasn't put on this world to be agreed with. You wasn't put on this planet to be the spectacle of everybody saying, oh, I agree, and that's okay of what she's doing, and oh, I'm okay with what he's doing. No, your life is your life, and you're the only one who gotta walk it and live it. So if that's the case, stay true to it. Stay true to you, right? And at the end of the day, if folks love you, they go love you because of who you are. Not what you are, not what you have, but solely because of who you are. What else? What's another takeaway that I got from this? Oh my gosh. I mean, it was just so much. So many different takeaways. I mean, the book is really good. It gives you so much insight into what people go through, what people struggle with. And oh my gosh, a lot of times people carry stuff that we don't even know, right? So sometimes it's your friend. Ask your sister, how are you really doing? Like, right? Ask a family member, whoever, just ask. Because a lot of people carry a lot of stuff around. A lot of stuff around. A lot of baggage, a lot of hurt, a lot of anger, a lot of pain. And I'm not saying that you're a therapist. I'm not saying start acting like Dr. Phil. I'm just saying ask a question. How are you? Like, for real, how are you, right? And you'll be surprised how much of a difference that can make in somebody's life, right? Somebody who's probably thinking, don't nobody care, nobody ever acts, like, I'm just here in the world, going to and from, just being, right? Just existing. And a lot of people do that to this day. They just exist. So just ask. And so outside of that, I mean, you guys got to read the book for yourself, okay? That's just a few key takeaways that I got from the book. I mean, I was well pleased. Like I said, this is a reader. From the moment you pop open the page, it's a page turner. It's going to have you intrigued. It might lightweight have you crying. It might lightweight have you in your feelings. I mean, you might want to be an activist after this book, okay? That's just how interesting it is. But my score out of this book, how I'm rating this book, y'all, it has to be a 5 out of 5. For me, a 5 out of 5. Try it yourself. Read it yourself. If you do read it, please let me know what you thought, what your feelings was about this book. I mean, if it evoked any emotions out of you, what they were. I mean, I'm just hecka curious just to see, like, if anybody had the same feelings I felt reading this book. But that's what it is, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this book review. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, heart it. Don't forget to subscribe. Until we meet again, I want you guys to stay blessed, stay you, stay true. Peace.